cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in too. It's time again, you cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in too. It's the #1 podcast. The topics of discussion when we broadcast. So all them artificial man jokes, we do it natural from the concrete to a public standpoint. Real, wherever you're from, life is coexistence, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. Wherever you're from.
What up, everybody, and welcome to the 52 Scott Podcast. You're tuned in to our Black Friday episode. I'm your host, Freddie G, joined by K Money, Slag, and Comedian 96. Collectively, we are the Mind of Men. Follow us on Twitter at 52 Scott Podcast, on Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast. And for all my YouTubers, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And welcome to another Black Friday. So, fellas, we know that white privilege does exist in the United States, right?
Unfortunately so.
Now, with that being said, it got me to thinking: is there such a thing as black privilege? And so, with that being said, I said, okay, let me think about the word privilege. Privilege is a set of unearned benefits given to people who fit into a specific social group.
Okay.
So, with that being said, we know that if the police pull somebody over, for an example, pull a white person over,
Right.
there's a certain amount of white privilege that may be given.
Right.
If an a white person goes to court, there's a certain amount of white privilege that may be given.
Right.
And we can go around the table and think of different examples of white privilege. Is there such a thing as black privilege?
I wouldn't call it necessarily privilege. I would say privilege / entitled. And I'm gonna give you an example, okay? A lot of people might not agree with me, and you know, personally, you know, I'm a comedian, so you know, I don't care what you think about me personally. But to me, as blacks, we have a BET, Black Entertainment, Black Girls Rock, Black this, Black that. I don't, other than the country music, the CMT channel, I don't see any white girls rock, white girls magic, white this, white that. You don't see Asian this, Asian that. You know, you might hear the whole Asian persuasion, but we all use that term. That's just like, you know, you don't see that on TV, on mainstreams, white show. This, you get what I'm saying? So I personally say we can at times be. That would be our black privilege, so to speak, because it's not. To me, it's segregating, and no one is saying anything about it. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, Slash, you got something?
So repeat the
definition.
Or was it a question that you asked? Does
black people, is there
Black
such a thing as
exist?
Yeah.
Black privilege?
Is there such thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there such thing as black privilege? However, I'll say yes, but I'm also say it's not a lot of black privilege.
Not exactly. I agree with you.
So when you decide to say that there is black privilege, you got to know the time when there is black privilege, because it's a lot of different scenarios that happen in the black community that, you know, sometimes can go several different ways.
Okay.
I think there is a such thing as black privilege. You guys got to look at like when these corporations have to meet a certain quota in hiring certain, you know, their employees.
Yeah,
they doing away with it.
You know, I look at that as black privilege.
We had that show. Right. They doing away with that now.
Yeah, they are doing away with it now. But
so
you know,
no more of that.
They are doing away with it.
Yeah, that was the show. We had that show. What was it?
We had the show. Now, what did they pass that law? Because that's what it was, right?
I'm
Something like that.
I'm
that
sure.
They was trying
Was it supposed? It was supposed to be passed in September. I should have checked. We didn't check back on it. I didn't do my research, but I'll
That
find
would
out.
be my example. Though.
That's a form of it. I agree.
Yeah, that one too. That's
Okay.
another one.
So, Comedian 96, I want to touch on something you said. You said we have BET, Black Girls Rock, and then you went on to name a few things with the word black in front of it, right? So, what do you say to people who just heard you say that, and those people say, but that was us creating things for us as black people, creating it for our people,
Right.
So could you really say that that's black privilege?
I can't, but I don't think as us black people, us. I think how I think, man, and this is me personally. How you guys think is fine. I don't look at color anymore. I don't. I did. I don't. I look at your heart. So doesn't matter your color. When I am introduced to you as a person, no color involved. I'm looking at your heart, what kind of person you are. Then from there, we can do the other stuff. But to answer your question, I went all the way left.
As usual.
Yeah, as usual. I went all the way left.
What do you think? What do you think for people who just heard you say we have BET,
yes.
Black Girls Rock, and you named a few other things with the word black in front of it, and then you say no ethnicity is putting that in front of their whatever shows and titles, and I said, what do you say to people who say, well, that's us creating something for us?
Right. Keep in
Is
mind,
that actually
but you're-
white privilege? I mean, black privilege.
I feel like you don't have to put the emphasis on it because we see you do it. We see if you're singing, we see you singing. If you're doing athletics, we see you. We see you.
Now keep in mind,
There's no-
Comedian 96, before BET, all there was MTV and VH1.
But none of them said white, even though it was all white people and some black. It never just said
Some
straight
black.
out the
No,
open title.
Some
white.
black.
So here's the thing, Comedian 96.
Never had an open title white. I'm
get
asking,
that.
have we ever had a channel that's had an open channel say white?
You
get
said
that.
some black.
That's
though.
what I mean.
I get that. MTV, one black. I'm gonna tell you who that black was.
Who was that?
Michael Jackson.
Okay, that's fine.
Now, there was all kind of black music out there.
It sure was.
So if the black music wasn't being played on these white stations, they might not have to say
Prince was on MTV.
Okay, too, but mainly Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, but for those, we know that there's a whole bunch of black folk out there that were putting out good music, and some of these white folks were swagger jacking. They was taking some of the music, but these black artists couldn't be played on like their counterparts. They couldn't be played on these shows. So, as blacks always do, we make do, and we go and create our own to put our own people on there and to say, hey, black entertainment. Now, white folks don't do that because U.S. is white.
Right.
It is, but
So they don't have to stamp white on their stuff. Now, they did back in the day where it says whites only. And
yeah, but that's in slavery. I'm talking about now. No more slavery, none of that. What I'm saying, the segregation, the thing with the black stuff, and it's even if it was say if it was a Hispanic that was doing it, or Asian or white, if it was, just say it was white. I don't care what color you are, not just us. Anything that say, okay, this white, is segregating to me. Doesn't matter what color. It doesn't matter black, white. Doesn't matter. We are all God's people. That's all I'm saying. So I don't like the segregation part in the title. That's it. That's all I'm saying. You see your accomplishments. We see you black. There's no need to.
Well, there was a need, though. That's just the thing.
So-
now, our music wasn't being played on MTV or VH1.
But it's being played
so there was
now,
a need.
and we got a lot of black channels. There's no need to add the word black in the beginning. We
you
can
know that-
see it.
you
The
know that-
African channels don't say black. They
Check it
got
out.
African channels. We see it's all
Check it
African
out.
people on there. What's the purpose? That's what I mean by entitled and privileged.
Check it out. You know Bob Johnson doesn't own BET anymore. Those are owned by white people now.
Right, they even changed the name years ago. It's
No,
not black. It's called something else, entertainment television, not black though. I thought
you
they
sure
changed
about
it.
that?
I thought they changed
Are
it
you
to
sure about that?
Okay, well maybe they were talking. They weren't talks about changing the black part to something else instead of BET. It was supposed to be something else, entertainment televition.
Okay,
I can't remember what the B was.
What is it now?
I don't know. I don't.
Google.
I don't watch them. Let me shut up. I don't want to Google. But what is it? What is it?
Okay, so with that being said, man, look, I get it. I get that you don't see color, you don't see it, but the whole thing is their black privilege. I think that we do have some privilege,
Some.
We do.
Some.
We do.
and or is it okay for white people to call out black privileges? That, hey, no, that's not fair. They got black privileges. Is it okay for white people to do that?
No.
I mean, it's America, so
It's
They
America.
gotta do it though.
It's America. I honestly,
that gives them the right to.
Yeah.
Because
they have the right to do it. And honestly, y'all might go against me because of all the black girl rock, black this, black. I would if I was a Karen, I would bring it up. I'm sorry, I would. If I was a Karen, I would bring it up.
You sound like you're a Kenneth.
Kenneth Karen. But I'm just saying, it's really redundant. And that's the purpose of, I see what you do. I see your music. I see your athletics. I see all that. There's no need to, I see you black too.
So
No need to
I want
put it in
y'all,
the title.
each one of y'all to give me an example of black privilege, starting with you, K Money.
Oh shit. An example of black privilege. I'm gonna say in sports. Coach, you at an all-white school, and the coach, you the only black guy on the team, and the coach puts you in the position that and like quarterback because of your abilities.
Yeah, but do you think that's black privilege, or you earn it because you're good?
Both.
So let's say you had a white quarterback who runs the exact
Just as
same
good.
speed, throw just as good. Y'all are equal in ability. Do you think you'll get the job if you're at an all-white school because of black privilege?
Nah, in that situation, it's hard to say. If there was a quota saying, well, nah, that I don't think that would be anything like that.
So it's starting to sound like there's a possibility that there isn't black privilege when it comes to sports.
I'm sure there is. I just can't think of a way to tie it in. But I know
Maybe
that there
pay.
is.
Okay.
Nah, I don't
Comedian
know.
96.
All right.
Give me an example of what you think black privilege. There's an example of black privilege.
Well, K Money said earlier in employment. I would say
I'm sorry. Say it again.
what K Money said earlier about employment.
Okay.
I would say, if perfect example, you have a black guy, white guy, both of them got the same qualifications, right? Say the black guy been doing this type of work for 8 years. The white guy, same thing, 8 years. The only difference between their resumes, the white guy, he knows Excel very well. The black guy don't know Excel. He knows everything else you do, but he just doesn't know Excel. But as a company, you decide, well, we only got one black guy. We need one more to fill our billet, to make sure we have the ratio of blacks to whites or whatever it is you have to hire. And you hire the black guy, even though Excel is all you do at that company, and the white guy has experience in Excel, you passed on him because you needed to hire a black guy. I think that type of black privilege, I would hire the most experienced. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Slash, your thoughts on black privilege.
So I just had something in mind on black privilege, what my thought of black privilege, or maybe one type of black privilege. Being a pillar in your community can be a bit of black privilege just amongst the community. You know, you get certain stuff you're able to do and better opportunities, which makes a black privilege in succeeding in something, and you know, more so.
Okay, so I want to work in reverse. I want to start with what you just said. I noticed you said being a pillar in your community. So it sounds as if the only time the black privilege, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds as if the only time the black privilege, if there's any, applies is if it's actually happening in your community.
Amongst black people.
Yeah, amongst black people in your community.
Right.
But outside of your community, the black privilege doesn't
it's only
work.
so it only goes so far.
So only so far. So Comedian 96.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. You mentioned in regards to your black privilege.
Jobs.
Your jobs.
Yeah.
Okay, so in regards to the job, could it be that that's not actually black privilege? It's just that jobs know that they had a unfair practice for so long that let me try to make this a little right because we've been treating them so wrong. We can hire one black person or two black people so it don't look so bad. And they're trying to they're trying to correct the wrong that they were doing by not hiring blacks, which now I'm going to segue to K-Money with the sports, a la the Rooney Rule, K-Money. The Rooney Rule, where you got to go and you got to interview a black coach just to get this coaching job, but that's them trying to correct the wrong of what they know what's going on. So with all of that being said, I do think that we have black privilege, but this is when it actually happens. And it doesn't happen that often.
Okay.
First of all, you're outside of your community, right? And you run across somebody in position and they're black and they see you and they want to look out for you. It doesn't happen that often.
It don't happen often. You're right.
But it happens.
But the reason why they do it is because they know how we have been treated in America as blacks.
Right.
So let me reach down and pull my brother or sister up. So that's when you get the black privilege, but it doesn't happen that often. Y'all agree or disagree?
I can kind of agree with that.
Oh, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just trying to visualize that example, though. If you could clarify more.
Okay, so here's an example. So let's say you are at a driver's license place. You're outside of the community for the most part. And somebody's working behind the counter, there, and
It's a black person.
it's a black person. And it's a bunch of Hispanics up in there right now. You know, and it's a sprinkle of whites, but bunch of it, 'cause white people probably doing theirs online and all kinds of stuff. Right. So a bunch of Hispanics up in there. And this black person behind there see you coming and be like, man, come on up here, I got you. Black privilege.
Yeah.
that's black
Now that's a good. You right.
Yeah.
We had when I first started doing comedy. You made me think about that when he said it. I had went my first show like out of town was all white. There was one black girl back there, but she didn't know I was a comic. She thought I was one of the people in the audience because I was trying to get something to eat. She was like, oh, she was so happy that she kept hooking me up with more food than what I needed. Black privilege, you're right. Black privilege, and that was her job, and she was still just kept giving me more and more food and more. I'm like,
so
I didn't pay for anything.
We don't have the privileges that whites have.
No,
because,
not at all.
Because whites are in better positions to look out and to take care of their own.
Yeah.
But in some instances, some small instances, we do get some black privileges.
Yeah.
So with that being said, let me shift gears to our black facts. you can't take back. So today's Black Facts is about Henrietta Lacks. Henrietta Lacks was born August 1st, 1920 to October 4th, 1951.
31.
Yep. Lacks was being treated for cervical cancer at Johns Hopkins University in 1951 when doctors removed cells from her tumor without her knowledge or permission. Her cancer cells are the source of the HeLa cell line, the first immortalized human cell lines and one of the most important cell lines in medical research. Even though some information about the origin of the HeLa immortalized cells was known to researchers after 1970, the Lacks family were not made aware of the line existence until 1975. HeLa cells have been instrumental in numerous of scientific breakthroughs since the discovery in 1951. They have contributed to advancement in various fields of medical research, including the study of leukemia, AIDS virus, and they play a significant role in developing of polio and COVID-19 vaccines. Now, with that being said, there's a movie, and I saw this movie. It's called The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, right? It's a really good movie. I suggest y'all check that out. So the bottom line is, this lady, her cells as a black woman, they don't die. They just keep regenerating. And so they've used those cells for extensive research to create vaccines because they don't die. They don't die. They just keep going and keep going and keep going. So in last month, August of 2023, the family of Henrietta Lacks settled in a lawsuit against biotechnology company Thermo Fisher Scientific. So bottom line is, these people were making hundreds of millions and billions of dollars off of her sales
over all these periods of time,
and hadn't been paying them.
And they hadn't been paying them people, and they took her sales without her permission and her knowledge.
Ooh.
But what's so cold-blooded about it is, this is a black woman who you couldn't, years and years been going on, you couldn't find no other ethnicity with these cells to keep regenerating and to make medical history, but you found it in this black woman, and you white folks were reaping the privilege
Keeping it on the hush
of this black woman.
No, you telling a story, no.
There you
Of this black woman, you reaping this.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we can't afford the medication, we can't afford to go to the doctors, we can't do this, but this black person's cells keep regenerating. So anybody with leukemia, AIDS, and whatever other researchers y'all was able to discover from this black woman, all black people should get their treatment for free. I'm out. This concludes another dope episode of Black Friday. Tune in tomorrow for Music Monday. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at 52 Scott Podcast, on Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast, and for all my YouTubers, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And remember, the only way we grow is if you let them know.